In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can reuse the validation code we just wrote for our signup component and use it in our login component. Let's go back to our code. We'll be working on both login.view and signup.view. So I'm gonna be copying some pieces of code from signup.view and pasting them in login.view. And I'll start by copying the opening form tag. It has the noValidate attribute we talked about on our last video, and the submit event calling the submit form method. Next, we'll add the vModel directives to our input fields. Let's add a vModel to our password field as well. Let's update our error list markup and use the one we have in signup.view, which has the v-for directive looping over the errors list. So I'm gonna copy that and paste it here. Now that we have our template all set up, let's focus on the data and methods. I'll go to the signup form again and copy the data and methods. Let's go back to the login and paste that in here. Since we don't have an input field for the name in the login form, I'll just go ahead and delete the name property from the form data object. And I will also delete the validation for the name here. But wait a second, this code is almost the same as the code in the signup component. It seems we're not complying with the dry principle here, which is don't repeat yourself. It seems we're repeating ourselves here. I'm going to solve this by using a mixin, and by doing this, we will have the validation code in one single location and use it on both signup.view and login.view files. I'm going to create a mixin folder, and inside of it, I'll create a validation form mixin.js file. In case you don't know what a mixin is or how to use it, you'll find more information about them in the description below. But basically, and according to the Vue documentation, mixins are a flexible way to distribute reusable functionalities for Vue components. I'll create an object with the same name, validation form mixin, and inside this object, I'll add the component options we want to reuse. In the data, we want to reuse the errors list array. So I'll go ahead and add that to the mixin. The next thing we want to add is all of our methods inside the methods object. So I'll cut both the validate form and the validate email methods. And then in the mixin, I will paste them in the methods object. Now let's make sure we export the validation form mixin object so we can use it in our components. Let's import the mixin in the signup component. Then, in a mixins array, we add the validate form mixin we just imported. Now, let's do the same thing in our login component. Also, let's clean this component a little bit. Since we have them in our mixin, let's delete the errors list array from our data and the validate form and validate email methods. Let's also delete the errors list array from our signup component. Now, our components are cleaner and more readable. Let's save and go to the browser to see if everything is working. Oops, we are receiving a message saying our name is required, but we don't have a name field in our login component. We should print these messages only for both email and password. Let's go back to our mixin and do a quick fix in our validation. We're just going to use the JavaScript in operator to check whether the property exists in the form object or not. Let's do that on each validation. Now, it should work as expected. Let's save our code, go to the browser, and see if everything is working. Awesome. Sure enough, our validation is printing the correct messages, one for the email and one for the password. Let's check our sign up form now. Fantastic. It is printing the corresponding error messages here as well. Let's also test the email validation in the login form and the password minimum length validation. Great. Our login form is working as expected, and our sign up form should be working as expected too. Let's see. Awesome. Both the sign up and the login components are successfully reusing the validation code from the mixin. It means we just finished our project and everything is working as expected. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, afternoon, or evening. See you later.